Well, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And as expected, the Seamus Casey era, for now, has come to an end. After cracking the New Jersey Devils lineup, getting on the plane, going to Prague, and starting in the Global Series and continuing on to play in every New Jersey Devils game this season, racking up 3 goals and an assist for 4 points in those 8 games, Seamus Casey has been sent down to Utica of the AHL. The Devils released this little statement earlier today, headlined, Casey reassigned, Misyul recalled, transaction. The Devils have reassigned defenseman Seamus Casey to Utica of the American Hockey League and recalled blue liner Daniil Misyul to the NHL. Misyul, 24, has played 3 games with Utica this season. The Devils' third-round pick in 2019 appeared in 44 games last year with Utica, totaling 3 goals, 10 assists, and 14 points. And I think a lot of us saw this coming. I think the writing was certainly on the wall against the Capitals. Seamus Casey only got 10 shifts and played about 7.5 minutes. And Sheldon Keefe just wants him to continue to work on his defensive game before having a full-time spot on the New Jersey Devils. After like the 5th or 6th game, I thought there was a chance that Casey was going to stay up here just because of his elite playmaking and his overall skill set is just, off the charts. His vision, his skating, his passing, his ability to keep the puck in the zone. Obviously, his shot is an absolute snipe. And the kid's going to be a great player for the New Jersey Devils one day. And it could end up being later this season, depending on how things shake out. But for now, with Luke Hughes seeming like he's going to return any game now, they had to make room. And I expect Seamus Casey to play a ton of minutes and a ton of scenarios for Utica and the AHL as he continues to develop this early on in his professional career. And it sucks. And, my heart goes out to Seamus. I'm sure he's heartbroken. He wanted to make the team, obviously, out of camp. He had a great rookie camp and a great preseason. And then because of the injuries to both Luke Hughes and Brett Pesce, it kind of paved the way for him to crack the lineup, which he did. And he made the most of his opportunity. But, unfortunately, with the amount of defensive depth the Devils have at the moment, it just wasn't in the cards for him to stick around at this juncture. And I think what the plan here is, what it seems like anyway, is that Luke Hughes is not playing tomorrow against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Neither is Pesce. They announced that earlier today. But I suspect that he will be back maybe a game or two after that. And so I think the coaching staff wanted to send Casey down instead of protecting him and shielding him from a lot of ice time and giving him minimal minutes. They're like, go to the AHL. You're going to play a ton of minutes, get way more experience. And I think we'll see Misyul play 1 or 2 games before Luke inevitably comes back to the lineup. I'm obviously pumped to get Luke Hughes back. He will be a great addition to this New Jersey Devils club that's off to a 5-2-1 start on the season. And then obviously when we get Pesce back, I expect the defense to take another, step up in their overall play, which will obviously help out Markstrom or Jake Allen when he's in there. But overall, Casey, I thought, did a great job. Young kid, only 20 years old. He came in, he scored some big goals, had that big assist a couple games ago. And they just want him to work on his defensive game in Utica and kind of hone the craft before he's a full-time NHL player. And again, I'm sure he's heartbroken over it, but no one really in the organization had planned on him starting the season with New Jersey anyway. By all accounts, he was slated to start in Utica and play this year in the AHL before coming up to the Devils maybe next year. But with those injuries and everything and the way Casey looked in camp and preseason, they said we're going to give him a shot, and he made the best of it while he was here. He obviously, I'm sure, left a great impression on both his teammates and the coaching staff, but he's just a casualty of the Devils' extreme depth currently on defense, and it's beautiful to see the New Jersey Devils be put in these types of positions. Last year we lost Dougie. We all saw what an immense hit that was to the overall team play, but now with these guys all healthy and everyone coming back, someone had to go. For now, it's Seamus Casey, and I suspect when Brett Pesce is healthy, I do think that we're going to see Nemitz go down to the AHL as well, and maybe the coaching staff there will pair Casey and Nemitz together. Who knows? I'd be very curious to see how that all plays out. But obviously now, with Casey there and possibly Nemitz in the future, I definitely have a lot more interest in paying attention and watching some Utica Comets games. I've always had interest, but this definitely raises it up a little bit when we're going to have one of our best prospects in Casey there and maybe Nemitz as well. And again, for Shimo Nemitz, because of injuries, he was able to play on the Devils for most of last season, and I don't think he ever saw this coming, but You know, again, with just this depth, with Kovacevic here now, I just don't see how Kovacevic comes out of the lineup. I think Kovacevic needs to be in the lineup at all costs. He is heavier, edgier, more violent. And we need those types of defenders for sure. And that's the team motto. And so it seems like Keefe is going to go with the experience, go with the sure hands. I think Kovacevic is going to stay here. And when Pesce comes back, I expect Nemec to go down. But we'll see how it all shakes out. Who knows? Maybe Kovacevic is the odd guy out. But for now, if I had to guess, I'm thinking Nemec will be the one to go down and get a ton of playing time again in all scenarios, just like Seamus Casey. And they could be two of the best defensemen in the entire AHL. It's going to be interesting to see how they fare down there. But in the end, it is better for their career trajectory and their career growth. And so they're both going to be disappointed, or at least Casey will be. And we'll see if Nemec, joins him. And it is kind of a disappointing thing to deal with as a young guy who thought you were going to be an NHL player. But it is what it is. This team is going to be locked and loaded when Luke and Pesce come back. The team's going to continue to get better under Keefe. They're going to continue to get more acclimated to the systems, Keefe's type of play. Obviously, again, not to make excuses, but the schedule makers did us absolutely no favors. Aside from going to the Global Series, we're now looking at a super unforgiving, heavy October schedule. And starting with Tampa Bay tomorrow, we have 4 games in the next 6 nights. I mean, that is grueling. Tampa Bay on the 22nd, off on the 23rd, at Detroit Thursday the 24th, at home Friday the 25th against the Islanders, off Saturday the 26th, and then back home Sunday, 7 p.m. against the Ducks. A 7 p.m. Sunday start. Those are pretty unusual. Sunday 7 o'clock against the Ducks. But 4 games in 6 nights is intense. Very intense, and I think it's starting to wear on some of these guys, Sheamus Casey included. He was used to a college schedule. He just played at Michigan last year, where the games aren't as frequent and close together, and now he comes up to the NHL for the Devils, playing obviously a way new, higher level of competition, the best competition in the world. The NHL is the greatest hockey league on the earth, and a very intense schedule where there's back-to-backs and 3 games in 4 nights and 4 games in 6 nights. And so maybe the coaching staff thought it was wearing on him. It was time for him to, come down a peg, if you will, play in Utica, see how he does in the AHL, and then he'll be waiting if there's an injury or some bad play from another defenseman down the line, maybe even this season. I fully expect him to be on the team next year, I think. I just don't see how he wouldn't be. But that's going to require some other kind of maneuverings as well. But the future is bright for the kid. I think he is going to be a phenom. I think he's going to be an absolute stud for the New Jersey Devils. And if he does stay in Utica for the rest of the season and we see him again next year, I do think he will be both a kind of preseason Calder Trophy nominee type player, or as the season goes on, I think he'll quickly find his way in the Calder conversation, because I do believe he's that good. His vision is amazing. Skating, shooting, passing. He's just a playmaker. He's just a supreme hockey player, and I look forward to seeing him here full time. I enjoyed watching him while he was here. All good things must come to an end, and so for now, this chapter is closed. He's going to Utica, and hopefully he dominates down there. In the wake of all this news, we also see the lines at practice today from Amanda Stein, and Ondrej Palat has at least temporarily been bumped up to the top line. We see Palat with Hughes and Bratt. This is courtesy of Amanda Stein, obviously the most famous handwriting in Devils history. A second line consisting of Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Dawson Mercer, with the third line coming back together that we saw a few games back. An absolutely dominant performance from the third line consisting of Paul Cotter, Eric Hall, Stefan Nason. They were absolutely a unit. They were dangerous out there, created a ton. And I guess Keefe's trying to recapture that. And I do think, again, Cotter we're going to see up and down, I think, no matter what. At certain points of games, he's going to get shuffled around. But I think as a unit, that third line with Cotter, Hall, and Nason was just a complete force. And I think Keefe's hoping to keep them together and hoping that the top 6 could get their stuff figured out. But Palat on the first line is certainly interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Palat plays with Hughes and Bratt. This is obviously a big opportunity for him. A lot of people are down on Palat, and I think, unfortunately for him, a lot of it has to do with his $6 million salary. But, there's nothing we could do about that now. Hopefully make the best of it, put him in situations or scenarios to succeed at the highest level possible. And he's getting a very big opportunity here, playing with Jack and Jesper Bratt. I mean, it doesn't get much more of an opportunity than that. And then the fourth line consisting of Tatar, Lazar, and Bastian. Again, I don't think Tatar is ideally a fourth liner, but because of all the other lines, the way they're constructed, there's nowhere else for Tatar to go but the fourth line. It'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And then the defensive pairings, Brendan Dillon and Dougie Hamilton remaining together. Siegenthaler and Kovacevic have been an incredibly solid pair. They are staying together. And Misyul stepping in on the left side in place of Seamus Casey with Nemitz. And then we see the extra pairing of the injured guys waiting to make their triumphant return to the Devils lineup, Luke Hughes and Brett Pesce. I think this team is really going to take us on a fun ride this year. I do think they are capable of going deep into the playoffs and possibly even winning it all. 5-2-1 at the moment, playing at a 113-point pace. It'd be amazing if they could finish somewhere around there. That should be good enough to either win the division or come in second place, I would imagine. Markstrom should be getting it together. Hopefully bounces back after a kind of unfortunate outing for the whole team, really, at home the other night against the Capitals. The team didn't play well. We had a lot of defensive struggles, very sloppy play in our own end. Markstrom was left out to dry a bunch of times. Very difficult saves to make. And hopefully we see a bounce-back performance tomorrow night against the Lightning from this whole club, from Markstrom to the defense to the forwards. Hopefully everything improves and we tighten up. We just tighten up on those turnovers. Been tons of turnovers. Got to tighten up on the turnovers, tighten up on the play in our own end, and just get the puck out. Get the puck out of here. No more, diddling around and getting stripped and leading to goals against. No. Make the simple play. Get it out. However you got to do it. But I'm excited. Excited for the game tomorrow. Let me know in the comments what you think about anything I said about Casey now joining the Utica Comets of the AHL. What do you think about the Kovacevic versus Nemitz kind of conversation? Heavier, edgier, more violent. If you haven't seen it yet, I believe there's a couple hoodies left in larger sizes, as well as the t-shirt version of this exact graphic. Heavier, edgier, more violent. You already know the 24-25 New Jersey Devils are not last year's Devils. We are heavier, edgier, more violent. Have the little run-in with the Devils logo on the sleeve beautifully there. I'll put the link in the description for both the hoodie and the t-shirt. But I'm jacked up, guys. I'm waiting for Devils hockey. We haven't had 2 nights off kind of in a little bit since the Global Series break. And, I'm looking forward to seeing the boys get back in action. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you all soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go.